Hello, family. My YouTube family. I am glad you came back. This channel shares stories inspired by the craft world, lessons, experience, and truth. Let me tell you about a quilt we made in my class, because what looked like a simple project at first turned into confusion, disagreement, and more opinions than we needed. But somewhere along the way, everything shifted, and that room went quiet. One day, the administrator came into my classroom, Creative Studio. We called it Creative Studio because that is what it was. Hands creating, minds working, and people learning how to take something simple and turn it into something meaningful. She wanted something to represent the class, something to hang in the front hallway so people could see what those hands were capable of. So I told the class we were going to make a quilt. Not just any quilt. Everyone would bring in a piece of fabric that meant something to them. Now, you already know about Will, Danielle, and Marcus, so I will not stay there. We also had Patricia, very confident and certain she was right. Tasha, everything had to be perfect. And Eli, the quiet one in the room, steady and focused. Once all that fabric came in, that is when everything changed. Because now, everybody had something to say. Where this piece should go. Who should decide? What looked better? They were arguing. Not once, not twice. They were arguing as if that quilt was responsible for making the final decision. Everybody had a vision. At one point, I stood there wondering when the quilt had become a planning committee. I had to stop everything. I told them, "You did not bring perfect fabric. You brought your story. And your story does not get to decide where it belongs." That helped, for a moment. This quilt took a week, and during that week, they were still arguing. By the second day, going into the third, things quieted down some. Not because they agreed, but because they were getting tired. The tension was still there, but it became manageable. So we kept working. And that quilt gave us problems. Seams were off. Corners were not lining up. Fabric puckered. At one point, it felt like that quilt was reflecting everything that was happening in the room. We had to slow everything down, guide the fabric, line things up properly, take our time. Because when you rush a quilt, it will show. And slowly, piece by piece, it started coming together. Not perfect, just better. Then Marcus brought in a piece of his father's shirt. Everyone in that room already knew about the tragic incident with his father. When Marcus said he wanted that piece placed in the center, no one argued. The room went quiet. Because some things carry more weight than opinion. From that point on, they worked together. Not perfectly, but enough. And when we finished, that quilt was not perfect. Seams were not straight. Corners did not meet exactly. But it was real. The students were pleased. You could see it. Not because everything was perfect, but because they stayed with it. And they finished it together. Now, let me ask you something. If you have ever made something for the first time, how did you feel when you finished it? Did it give you that satisfying feeling of seeing something come together in your own hands? If so, feel free to share that in the comments. If you enjoy this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that button and go make something. Go repair something. Do something good. and be proud of it. I will see you next week.